Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live through some of the most terrifying moments in history? Today, we're diving into the top 10 events that will chill you to the bone. Each story is more haunting than the last. Stay with us because at the end, we'll reveal a shocking fact that will twist your perception of history forever. Number 10. The Black Death, 1347 to 1351. Imagine a time when the air was thick with the stench of death, and the streets were lined with corpses. The Black Death swept through Europe, claiming an estimated 25 million lives, almost a third of the population. Entire towns were decimated, leaving haunting silence where once there was laughter and life. This pandemic, caused by the Yersinia pestis bacterium, spread rapidly, and fear was palpable. The symptoms were grotesque: painful swellings called buboes, fever, and chills. As families turned on each other, many fled to the countryside, thinking they could escape the disease. But what's truly terrifying? The methods people used to try to escape this plague. They believed that bad air was to blame, so they would carry fragrant flowers or even put on masks filled with spices. Get ready for a shocking twist. This will blow your mind. Some historians argue that the panic led to the rise of quarantine practices, a concept that still haunts us today during pandemics. Imagine being confined with your fears, knowing that death could knock at your door any moment. The Black Death not only transformed the population but also changed societal structures forever, leading to a decline in feudalism and a shift in power dynamics. Wait, listen. Please subscribe. Your subscription and watching this video can truly support my journey and inspire me to work harder. Let's continue. Number 9. The Salem Witch Trials, E1692. Step into the eerie world of Salem, Massachusetts, where paranoia ran rampant. The Salem witch trials saw innocent people accused of witchcraft, leading to a hysterical frenzy of accusations and executions. 19 people were hanged, and one man was pressed to death beneath heavy stones. The unsettling part? The entire community turned on each other in a desperate bid to save themselves, fueled by fear and superstition. Women like Tituba, an enslaved woman from the Caribbean, became scapegoats for the community's fears. Imagine the fear of being labeled a witch, knowing it could lead to your execution. The court relied on spectral evidence, testimony about dreams and visions, making it nearly impossible to defend oneself. Pay attention. I'm about to reveal a twist that will change everything. Many of those accused were simply women who defied societal norms, and the trials were steeped in misogyny. This twisted narrative of fear and scapegoating reveals how suspicion can poison a community. The chilling reality of mob mentality still resonates today, reminding us of the dangers of unchecked hysteria. Number 8. The Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, 1945. Now let's travel to the heart of World War II, where two cities in Japan faced catastrophic destruction. On August 6th and 9th, 1945, atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing over 200,000 people in an instant. The sheer horror of the blasts left survivors grappling with pain and suffering that would last a lifetime. Witnesses described the blinding flash, followed by an all-consuming firestorm that left buildings flattened and lives shattered. But what's even more shocking? The aftermath of the bombings created haunting images of shadows imprinted on walls, remnants of those who vanished in an instant. Get ready for a shocking twist. This will blow your mind. The after effects of radiation were so severe that they created a new class of survivors known as hibakusha, who faced lifelong health issues. Picture living in a city where the shadows of the past are etched into the ground, reminding you of the day the sky fell. The echoes of these bombings still resonate in discussions about nuclear warfare today, as we grapple with the moral implications of such devastating weapons. Number 7. The Great Fire of London, 1666. What if I told you that a single bakery in London sparked a fire that would devastate an entire city? The Great Fire of London began in Pudding Lane and spread rapidly, destroying more than 13,000 houses and leaving thousands homeless. The chaos was unimaginable as people fled for their lives, watching their homes and livelihoods turn to ashes. The fire raged for 4 days, fueled by wooden structures and a strong wind. People attempted to fight the flames with buckets of water, but their efforts were futile against the inferno. It was a time of desperation, and the air was thick with smoke and despair. Pay attention. I'm about to reveal a twist that will change everything. The fire actually led to significant urban planning changes, laying the groundwork for modern London. Imagine a city rebuilt from the ashes, a phoenix rising with new regulations and safer buildings. But behind this rebirth lies the haunting memory of loss and destruction that lingers in the hearts of survivors. The fire also exposed the vulnerabilities of urban life, reminding us of the fine line between civilization and chaos. Number 6. The Rwandan Genocide, 1994. Now let's confront one of the darkest chapters in human history, the Rwandan Genocide. In just 100 days, an estimated 800,000 people were brutally murdered as ethnic tensions erupted into violence. Neighbors turned against neighbors, and the world watched in horror as the atrocities unfolded. The genocide was fueled by decades of propaganda and political manipulation, creating a climate where hatred flourished. It was a time when families were torn apart and communities shattered under the weight of betrayal. Get ready for a shocking twist. This will blow your mind. The genocide was not just a spontaneous eruption of violence, it was meticulously planned by extremist groups. Imagine living in a society where the very fabric of humanity is torn apart by fear and hatred. The scars of this genocide remain, reminding us of the fragility of peace. As survivors continue to seek justice and reconciliation, the haunting memories of those terrible days serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of hatred and division. The lessons learned from Rwanda challenge us to confront our biases and work towards a more peaceful world. Number 5. The Spanish flu pandemic, 1918 to 1919. Picture a world still recovering from World War I, when a new enemy emerged: the Spanish flu. This unprecedented pandemic infected about 1/3 of the globe's population, leading to an estimated 50 million deaths worldwide. Hospitals overflowed, and families were torn apart as loved ones succumbed to the relentless virus. What made this flu particularly terrifying was its indiscriminate nature. It struck healthy young adults, unlike most flu viruses that primarily affect the very young and elderly. The symptoms were brutal: high fever, severe fatigue, and a cough that left many gasping for breath. Get ready for a shocking twist. This will blow your mind. Some scientists believe that the virus may have originated from soldiers returning from the trenches of World War I, where poor conditions and malnutrition created a perfect breeding ground for disease. Imagine the irony: a war-torn world being devastated not by bombs, but by a microscopic enemy. The global response was chaotic. Masks became a common sight, and cities implemented quarantine measures. The fear of illness transformed daily life, leaving a lasting impact on public health policies. The echoes of the Spanish flu remind us of our vulnerability and the importance of preparedness in the face of future pandemics. Number 4. The Fall of the Berlin Wall, 1989. Now let's shift our focus to a monumental event that symbolized the end of an era: the fall of the Berlin Wall. For nearly 3 decades, this concrete barrier divided East and West Berlin, representing a broader conflict between communism and democracy. On November 9, 1989, the wall came crashing down, but the story leading up to this moment is filled with tension and struggle. The East German regime had enforced strict travel restrictions, and whispers of rebellion grew louder as citizens yearned for freedom. As the wall fell, thousands of people poured into the streets, celebrating a newfound sense of liberty. However, the atmosphere was charged with anxiety. Many feared violent reprisals from the government. Pay attention. I'm about to reveal a twist that will change everything. The wall's fall wasn't just a spontaneous event. It was the culmination of years of protests and underground movements. Imagine the courage it took for ordinary citizens to stand up against an oppressive regime, risking their lives for the chance to be free. The aftermath of the wall's collapse led to the reunification of Germany and the reshaping of Europe, but the scars of division still linger in the hearts of many. Number 3. The Great Depression, 1929. As the stock market crashed in October 1929, the world plunged into the Great Depression, a time of despair that left millions unemployed and families struggling to survive. Bank failures, widespread poverty, and food shortages painted a grim picture. The effects rippled across the globe, leading to a decade-long economic downturn that would change the course of history. People lined up for miles at soup kitchens, and shanty towns known as Hoovervilles sprang up as displaced families sought refuge. The desperation was palpable, and the sense of hopelessness hung in the air like a thick fog. Get ready for a shocking twist. This will blow your mind. Some economists argue that the Great Depression laid the groundwork for the rise of totalitarian regimes, as desperate citizens sought leaders who promised stability. Imagine how fear and uncertainty can lead to the erosion of democracy and the rise of tyranny. The lessons learned from this dark chapter remind us of the fragility of economic stability and the importance of safeguarding our freedoms. Number 2. The Holocaust, 1941 to 1945. Prepare yourself as we delve into one of humanity's darkest atrocities, the Holocaust. During World War II, 6 million Jews were systematically exterminated by the Nazi regime in a chilling campaign of genocide. The sheer scale of this horror is unimaginable, as entire communities were wiped out, and the echoes of their suffering resonate through history. Concentration camps became symbols of terror, where individuals were stripped of their humanity. The stories of survival are haunting. Many were forced into labor, while others faced unimaginable cruelty. Families were torn apart, and the world stood by as the atrocities unfolded. Pay attention. I'm about to reveal a twist that will change everything. The Holocaust serves not only as a reminder of the depths of human cruelty, but also as a testament to resilience. Survivors became voices of hope, sharing their stories to ensure that the world remembers. Imagine the strength it takes to rise from the ashes of despair and fight for justice. The lessons of the Holocaust compel us to confront our biases and ensure that history does not repeat itself. Number 1. The 9/11 attacks, 2001. Finally, we arrive at a day forever etched in our memories, September 11, 2001. The world watched in horror as terrorists hijacked planes and crashed them into the Twin Towers and the Pentagon, claiming nearly 3,000 lives. The shockwaves of that day reverberated around the globe, altering the course of history and igniting a war on terror. In the aftermath, the resilience of first responders shone through as they rushed into the burning buildings, risking their lives to save others. The unity displayed by citizens in the face of tragedy was heartwarming, but the fear and uncertainty that followed were palpable. Get ready for a shocking twist. This will blow your mind. The long-term effects of 9/11 reshaped national security policies and intensified global conflicts, leading to a new era of vigilance and fear. Imagine living in a world where every flight feels like a risk, and the specter of terrorism looms large. As we reflect on this tragic event, we must also remember the stories of heroism and resilience that emerged from the ashes. The lessons learned from September 11th challenge us to foster understanding and prevent hatred from taking root in our communities. These 10 terrifying historical events remind us of the darkness that can arise from fear, hatred, and chaos. They compel us to reflect on our shared humanity and the importance of standing united in the face of adversity.